Welcome back to the At Home with Roby show. I'm Ashley Davis from the Roby family of companies. Visit us today at andrewroby.com. That's Andrew, ROBY.com, or you can always call us at 704-334-5477. We're now joined in the studio by Kayleen McCabe. We're very happy to have you here, Kayleen, by the way. If you don't know Kayleen, she is a licensed contractor and television host. You've done some things, maybe people have seen you. Tell us a little bit about, maybe just a quick 30-second elevator speech of your background, and then we'll get into kind of what you're accomplishing and what you're doing in Charlotte.
Sure. Thanks so much for having me here today. So I am a contractor of Colorado, and while I was doing the TV shows, I realized that we were at a shortage for contractors. So I'm partnering with a lot of different organizations to spread the good word that the trades are in need. It's a great career and profession for our next generation to consider.
That is awesome. That's awesome. So you had your taste of television.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And we were talking during the break before this segment, we were talking about how you used to just, when the airplane would go overhead, you stop because it killed the shot. Now you still stop your working, right?
Yes. Well, you get so accustomed to doing things in television. Obviously, it's not always reality.
Right.
And so a lot of times you take these audio cues. If there's a trash truck or a barking dog, you can't work. And it definitely took a minute getting back into the world of construction, not to take a pause every time there was a noise.
So everybody knows, in Charlotte at least, the Andrew Roby Company, and we've been around since 1950, and we really pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. And you're right, you don't see a lot of that today. Schools don't really teach those trades anymore. And I know you this week spent some time in some local high schools talking about bringing that back to the forefront so people learn a trade.
Yes, well, it's really important because the level of craftsmanship is critical to do great work. Obviously, Andrew Roby employs a lot of great craftsmen, too.
Yes.
You can't just have people coming in expecting great work. But the problem is that it was taken out of schools. And there's this national mindset that the trades aren't a great career option. And so we need to change that mindset because, quite frankly, our infrastructure is starting to collapse.
Yes.
We're going to need new homes, and we need to maintain the one that we do. And so really encouraging these students that they can have a great paying job out of high school with a lot of growth potential without the overhead debt from college. We need to put this word in mass. And it's as honorable as getting a degree.
Absolutely. It really is great to see when people kind of get back. You told me a story before the show today that you live in Colorado.
Yes.
And you bought your family home that you grew up in, right?
Yes.
So that is multi-generational now, and you have that skill set to be able to go in and do with it what you want and preserve the history while still maintaining what you want to do in terms of livability.
Yes. Well, and I feel fortunate that I'm able to buy this home and then update it as I wish. But if I don't have the time, I also feel like I'm a more educated consumer. And so folks who are able to learn a trade, when they go to do a bid or want to update their house, if they have this little nugget of knowledge, while they might not be able to do it to the extent that they want, because you and I were talking on, you have to have a team sometimes
Absolutely.
to come in. It's really important. This isn't home renovation is not a DIY project.
Right.
I'm sorry to bust the bubble in the myth. There are a lot of projects that you can do, but in reality, you need a crew. This is a level of craftsmanship that needs to be brought back to awareness. So. Sorry, I'll go on tangents.
All right, we're going to talk about, in a few minutes, we're going to talk about how you redo your entire kitchen in less than 24 hours in a minute, as seen on television. But now we're joined in the studio. Patrick McIsaac is with us. Patrick runs our Roby Electric division. And you mentioned NARI, National Association of the Remodeling Industry. Patrick, you're currently the president of that organization here in Charlotte, and you guys are part of why Kayleen's in town.
Yeah, that's exactly right. In fact, the first time Kayleen and I met, I think you were like the very first speaker in the morning.
Yes, in Florida, yeah.
And you were, your energy really captured the whole room. And sometimes I wouldn't say the word tired, but the evenings before those events can drag on a little bit. So
Enough
first,
said, Patrick.
Yeah. First thing in the morning, you're looking for some coffee and some energy. So I was just so captivated with your passion and drive for this, which we've talked about that in the show here before.
Absolutely.
We feel it locally that the trades are really hurting. I mean, there's a tremendous opportunity for young men and women to get involved, and it's good to see that you're spending time. I think you were at maybe Cabarrus County Schools earlier in the week.
Yes, Cabarrus, and then also Northwest
Cabarrus?
Woods?
School of the Arts, North.
Oh, gosh, I'm going to fail. It's too awesome.
Yeah, you failed, right? You should have maybe talked to the English professor
Exactly,
before
right?
you left
The principal.
school. Maybe.
Gotta go to the
Talk
office.
to the principal. Yeah, you're in timeout, by the way.
Yeah, awkward.
How was the lunch, though? I'm sure you had school.
Actually, it was delicious.
It's
I saw the square pizzas.
Yeah, I had salad, which I was really impressed. Game on.
If you're just tuning in, folks, you're listening to the At Home with Roby show. Visit us today at andrewroby.com, or you can always go to wbt.com and click on the At Home with Roby tab. Or you can call us if you need some work. You want to have one of these kitchens done in not less than 24 hours. We're going to talk about that in a minute with Kayleen. You want it done by a quality craftsman, quality work done in your home. Call us at Andrew Roby, 704-334-5477. Back to Nary 1 second, Patrick, and then
Sure.
I want to get into some of the things Kayleen and I were talking about earlier. Tell the folks just a 30-second. What she's doing in promoting the trades, you're doing within the trade to try to promote the companies and the businesses that are doing that, and really provide some oversight so that you have quality people in the marketplace.
Yeah, Ash, that's a great segue. NARI really is about a code of ethics. It's about like-minded groups in an industry that sometimes can have a negative connotation. So NARI is a group of like-minded businesses. It doesn't have to be necessarily contractors that have come together that abide by that code of ethics to hopefully serve the community and give the community a resource for construction.
That's fantastic, because a lot of times you hear these, you don't want to say horror stories because they have to put everything
You
in
do,
reality,
I mean,
right?
it's
But you
true.
hear people who
Sure.
in this home and they went through this renovation, and 2 years later there's mold, there's things that are popping up. They didn't do things right. They found out things. Heck, Coach Rivera, for the Panthers,
Oh,
his
yeah,
house, he couldn't have a better builder that built that home at the
Sure.
time, so to speak. But his house caught on fire because they missed putting that metal plate behind the fireplace. I mean, and the whole thing almost burned down. So
Yeah,
you never know what
scary.
you're going to get. You really want people who have integrity, like the Andrew Roby Company, that are going to do the job right.
Well, yeah, I mean, and another part of NARI is obviously the education piece that Kayleen is really flagshipping for us. I mean, that is so important. I mean, we go to these national conferences, and this is a nationwide epidemic where we just don't have workforce. I mean, it's going to be a problem. Construction is going to get more expensive. I think you were talking about kids going into college debt, which is we're getting them after that, which Kayleen is preaching is go into the trades first, work the trades for 4 years, right? And if you want to go to college after that, go pay for it.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, debt-free education.
Absolutely.
Plus, you already have this other skill set that translates
Correct.
nicely.
Yes.
Because a lot of things you learn when you're learning these trades. You're learning math, you're learning science, you're learning
Teamwork.
all of these great life lessons that you have that you
Yes.
find on a job site.
Why are we focusing more in school that construction is visual fractions, music is auditory fractions, and baking is delicious cookie fractions? I mean, it's all the same math. It's a fraction of fraction. And I was terrible at math in high school, and it wasn't until I found construction that it completely clicked. And now I frame curved spiral staircases.
Right.
You can play a lot more when you have the opportunity to see it. And the fact that we aren't focusing on the youth and saying, hey, it's such a critical. I mean, we're past desperate. We're into the black hole. Quite frankly, it's going to be scary to see if we can get out of it now.
Right.
I feel like I'm 10 years too late.
Right.
And so, if we can get this generation to understand that you can work first, continue your secondary education. You need education after high school, but it doesn't always have to be college.
Right.
Correct.
That's a great point. And, you're talking about the youth bringing this, back to a younger generation. But there's also, you're sitting here, you're a female. There's some gender issues here when it comes to construction, too. I mean, we just hired up in our Raleigh office, our general manager for that office is female. I'm driving here today. I'm behind one woman and a toolbox. A handy woman service. So it's great to see that, right? I mean, you have to be excited when you go into a high school or post-high school and you see maybe young women getting involved in these.
I love it. I'm very, very excited about it. And it's re-energizing because also with NARI, there's also Skills USA,
Sure.
which is a national organization promoting the trades. But there needs to be more.
Yeah.
There's just not enough. And so, putting it on blast and on repeat. But it's changing. It really is. There has definitely been a mind shift. Like, okay, everybody needs. This is not a political issue anymore.
Right, yeah.
It's not a gender issue. It's not a class issue. Some people are very happy working with their hands. And I think there's a level of artistry with craftsmen unlike any other trade.
Yeah.
And so
Agreed.
I don't want to knock DIYers because there are a lot of simple projects that homeowners can do. But quite frankly, these craftsmen, there is a lot of honor and passion in these trades. It's not just people who wake up and want to go make sawdust.
Yeah.
These are people who have a desire. Well, I want to make sawdust, but yeah.
All right,
Some days,
hang on to that thought about sawdust. Because when we
Yes.
come back, we're going
Yeah.
to talk about some of the myths that you find out on these DIY shows and what happens
Yes.
with your kitchen when you really try to do it in less than 72 hours. You're listening to the At Home with Roby show. Stay with us. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Kayleen McCabe. You're listening to the At Home with Roby show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.